Over the years, I've built more sites than I can count that involve some level of user access controls. Everything from homeowners associations to membership for tutorials to paid subscription membership access sites. Typically, you might think of something like WordPress or any of the other membership plugins to achieve something like this, but those are often difficult to use, terrible at scaling, and they're often pretty expensive as well. In this video, I'm going to show you the tools that I've combined together to create the absolute best workflow when it comes to membership sites that's cost-effective, easy to use, and very scalable. What we're going to do in this video is create the user fields. I'm going to show you how to apply them to your elements, and by the end of the video, you're going to know how to do all of this without any custom code or any extra cost. So let's go ahead and jump right in. To kick things off, we're going to install two plugins, the first of which is Advanced Custom Fields. We're going to use the free version here, but if you have the pro version, that works perfectly fine as well. Next, we want to install block visibility, and this is really the key to what we're going to achieve in this tutorial. Incredibly, this plugin used to be a freemium model, but the developer recently made everything available free in the plugin, which is just absolutely incredible. The free version before it got fully released was totally capable and really powerful, but now all the pro features being in it as well, it's an incredible plugin. So now that we have both block visibility and ACF installed, let's go ahead and take a look at this very simple demo I've created on the front end. The idea is that we want a way to check what user access level the person currently logged in and looking at the site has, and we can show and hide sections accordingly. As you can see here, we're going to create a couple different user access checks. One of them is going to be users that are level 1, another for level 2, and we're going to create another access check for users that are either level 2 or level 3. Keep in mind, what I'm showing you here is merely a proof of concept and getting your brain turning on how you can apply this to your use case. I'm currently building a website for a nonprofit organization that has 3 different levels of user access controls, and each of those levels has sub-levels. So this is merely a baseline for you to get started with. Now let's go ahead and jump back into the WordPress admin dashboard. By default, the user profiles in WordPress have a lot of data, but none of it is really applicable for a membership site use case. We're often going to want to check whether this member is a part of a group, what kind of access level they have, what subscription status they have, and those sorts of things. So we can actually add our own data to a user profile using ACF. So the first thing we're going to do is click the ACF here in the sidebar. We'll click the Add New button to create a new field group. Let's give this field group a name of Member Data. And then we're going to scroll down a little and we'll create the actual field itself. This will contain the data for what level the user is. Let's give this field a name of User Access Level. You can just press Tab and it'll auto-populate the field name. Now we have to choose the field type here. So your field could be left as the default plain text, but that's not what I would advise in most use cases, and that's not what I do typically in mine. Checkbox and radio fields both work here, and what I'm going to show you later on is with the checkbox, because our members on this example site could be a part of more than one user access level, more than one membership at a time. However, if you knew your members were only ever going to be a part of one membership, then you could just choose a radio option, which forces you to select from one of the available. Moving down just a little bit in the choices section, we're going to want to enter here all of the possible user levels that a member could have. For the sake of this demo, of course, we're going to use level 1, level 2, and level 3 like this. Now let's go ahead and set where these fields actually apply on your site. Scroll down to the location rules, and in the dropdown, find the current user option. Leaving it as the default logged in will work, but then the field group shows up all over your site, which is super annoying. Instead, choose the option that says user form is equal to add edit. This means that the ACF field will only show up on the user's add edit screen and nowhere else. Go ahead and click the Save Changes button to confirm our work. And now let's click the Users tab in the left sidebar. We're going to edit this user and scroll down to the bottom, and now you'll see the fields that we created. Of course, there's nothing set at the moment for my admin user here, so I'm just going to go ahead and set myself to level 1. At this point, we can go ahead and edit our dashboard page and start applying these conditional access checks. In general, I'm setting these access checks on an entire container as opposed to an individual element, but it works either way. You could set a condition on a single button or an entire container, and it will apply to everything inside of that container. So with that in mind, you can see my sections here are named to show you what we're going to do with the access check conditions. So let's open our sidebar and select the first container. Then in the right sidebar, let's scroll down to the visibility section. And this is what was added by block visibility. Click the plus button and let's quickly take a look at all of the options here. One of my favorites is the query string, which is incredibly powerful. And if you're interested in a video on that, drop a comment below and I'll definitely whip that up for the future. Because we have ACF installed, the ACF integration is available here in block visibility. So go ahead and click on that. Close this little drop down and you can see that there is now a rule set box for us. Click in there and you'll see the drop down shows our field groups and our individual field. We'll choose user access level since that's the data we want to check against whenever a user is currently accessing and visiting our site. Just below that, turn on the option that says evaluate as user field because of course we applied our ACF field to the user and not the post that we're currently on. You have a variety of options in the select condition dropdown. The most likely one you'll want is value is equal to, and you'll enter whatever the user level choice that corresponds to that section is. In our case, we're setting this field to level 1, which means this entire section will only show if the current user has a membership level of level 1. Let's go ahead and do the same thing that we just did one more time on the next section to show if only they are a level 2 user. Once we have that taken care of, we'll view this page on the front end, and it's working exactly as intended. We're only seeing the level 1 section. Of course, the section below that should show to level 2 and level 3 users is visible, but of course we haven't set a condition on that one yet. So now we know that the individual fields are working, let's create a condition that includes an OR operator. We'll switch back to the back end and edit the third section. In this case, we essentially need to repeat the steps we've already done, except we need to add an additional rule set. This is how you create an OR condition. Click the little plus button again and choose ACF. This creates another row for us to add the field data. I'll do it again as we've done it already exactly. Now what I need to do is adjust my user level to a level of 2 and view it on the front end. Now what happens is I can see sections 2 and sections 2 and 3 exactly as intended. How cool is that? Our conditions are working. Obviously, setting conditions on every single section across your entire site could turn into a scalability nightmare. If you need to make a small tweak to your conditions, it's conceivable you could have to do that across multiple pages or numerous pages and templates if you have a larger site. And the genius of the developer of block visibility really shines through here because he created a feature called visibility presets. So let's go ahead and take a look at that now. If you click the 3 dots icon and you enable the visibility presets, that creates this rule set for us. You want to go ahead and click the little plus icon next to the word visibility presets, and this brings up a new dialog box. You'll start by giving this preset a title, and then in the control set area, you can add the ACF fields just like we've already done multiple times in this video. Publish that preset, and you can create as many of them as you need. In this case, on our demo site, I would create 3 presets to make it easy and not have to recreate the ACF rules over and over and over across sections all over my site. Not only this, but with this visibility presets approach, if you need to make a change to something, it's going to apply anywhere that visibility preset exists all over your site, which is just incredible. It really is so well thought out that it's just amazing and incredible once again that it's free. Now to apply the preset, go ahead and close the dialog and choose one of the presets that you just defined, and that's going to achieve exactly the same thing as what we did manually earlier. So I strongly encourage you to take advantage of these visibility presets in real life websites. Setting the actual value of the ACF field can be done in a variety of different ways. You could do this with a form plugin and a front-end form using something like Gravity Forms or Fluent Forms. My preferred method, because I'm often creating custom dynamic forms, is I'm going to use ACF Extended. That plugin attaches to ACF Pro, so if you don't have Pro, that might not be applicable, but that's just how I do it. I have numerous videos on ACF Extended, so if you're interested in that, just type in front-end forms on my channel and you'll find it. Because these fields are accessible to admins in the backend, they can easily go edit a user and change their user levels just from the backend interface as you'd expect. And of course, you could also add in something like a plugin such as Admin Columns Pro, and you can inline edit those fields or bulk edit them, and that will, kind of speed up the editing process tremendously later on. Another great question you're probably asking is how secure is my content when it's protected by block visibility? Well, the thing is that you're creating PHP conditions, which means that if the condition is not met, the element is not even output in the code, so the code doesn't exist on your page at all. So it's reasonably safe to put sensitive content inside of your site with a relatively high degree of certainty, because you're not just doing something like with CSS, display none on the element. It's visually hidden, but it's still there in the code. Not the case with block visibility. Like I said, PHP condition means it won't even be output on the front end at all. Now, of course, safe is a relative word because nothing is 100% safe, but within a reasonable degree of certainty for most of the use cases that we are going to be using a plugin like this, it's more than fine. As you can see, the power that this approach unlocks is really tremendous and will open up a wide variety of use cases for you. The best part of this being that you can do this with no code and no extra cost, which is incredible. If you'd like more information or if you're interested in help on your project, please visit the link in the description below to be taken to my site, and feel free to use the contact page to reach out. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in a future video.